Hey, and welcome back to a new episode of Worlds Collide, the podcast where I talk to people who moved abroad. I am your host, Viktoria, and welcome to the show, and welcome back or hello to everyone who is listening for the first time. Guten Tag, hallo, salut, all of them, or just skip it. Anyway, so welcome to the show. In this episode, I talked to an old guest, not an old guest because he's not old, he's young, but he's been on the show before. Do you remember Kevin from season 2? He lived in Thailand for like 6 years and now he moved to Mexico City. I just wanted to let you know that this was already recorded a couple of months ago because, like, as you will notice in our conversation, things that now happened in the past were then happening in the future or were supposed to be happening in the future. So just an FYI. But I also wanted to let you know that you can help to support this podcast. So you could leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to this podcast, because that would be awesome, because then this would help to get a bigger audience. And I would love it if this podcast would reach more ears. And then there's a second way how you could support this podcast. It's buy me a cup of coffee. It's like, there's a link in the show notes, buymeacoffee.com/worldscollidepod. And yeah, there you can chip in like $1 or $2 or whatever it is, how much you want, whatever, anything helps. So yeah, and that's it. And that was all I wanted to mention before we start. So now I'll let you listen to my conversation with Kevin. Here it is. Hey, so today there is an old face here. My guest is Kevin, and he was on this podcast before. So, hi, Kevin. Let's say hi first.
Hey, Victoria. How's it going?
It's going well. How have you been?
I'm doing good. Since we last spoke, I've obviously moved countries, so yeah, I'm very excited and I'm adjusting well to the new place.
A lot of new places, a lot of new things.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
just a quick rundown for the people who have not listened to the previous episode. So you were in Thailand.
That is correct.
Where are you now?
I'm currently in Mexico City.
In Mexico City. And when did you move to Mexico City?
So I arrived in Mexico City at the end of November last year. So it's only been about 3 months, I would say. I was actually supposed to arrive earlier, but there were some issues with my visa process, so there was a little bit of a delay, but here I am finally. So happy to be
finally.
here.
Okay, so, and you've been in Thailand for 6 years?
Yes, so 6.5 years in total. That's correct.
All right. And so why did you then chose to try out living in Mexico?
That's an excellent question. So actually, I've always wanted to move to Latin America since COVID happened. I wanted a change from Thailand because at that point I was there for 4 or 5 years, and I wanted to experience a new culture and continue my, I guess, journey of living in different countries. And luckily, I had a work opportunity to actually move to Mexico City. So that's sort of what brought me here.
Okay. Like, what kind of work opportunity did you get?
Sure. So I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the previous podcast, but I used to work in hospitality for like a decade.
Yeah.
And then I've transitioned into tech now, so I work in tech.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So now you work in tech? So it's a tech job?
It is a tech job, yes.
Okay. And so you just mentioned also you had like a little visa problem. Was that then the working visa?
Yes, that's correct. So it wasn't really, I would say, a problem with the visa itself. It was more about getting a proper appointment with the Mexican embassy in Seoul, because like on my research, like every embassy accepted reservations differently. So the one in Seoul was a little bit complicated. So, and the one in Bangkok as well. So I had to fly home to get my visa.
Okay. So you had to go to the agency of your home country?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. How long did that whole process then take?
So the process itself, like of actually acquiring the visa, took me like a week, but
Ah,
the
okay.
the actual waiting time of actually trying to get an appointment took me like 2 or 3 months.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's like frustrating, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
sure
a
they are
long
like, yeah,
it
it's a
was
long
a
wait.
yeah, painful process, but here I am.
Oh yeah, finally. Okay. Have you visited before?
No, it's my first time in Mexico. I visited Latin America before because I lived in Brazil when I was young for 3 years, but other than that, it's my first time in the region.
So what's your first impression like?
Well, I would probably say, well, this could be a bold statement, but I would say that probably Mexico could potentially be my favorite country that I've lived in so far.
Oh wow, and it's been many.
Yeah, it's been many, but so far I've been really well received.
Uh-huh.
Obviously the media portrays Mexico in a negative light, I think, but it's actually much safer and a very pleasant place to live in, more than the media says. And I've just been
Okay.
adjusting really well. Like the people have been welcoming, the food has been fantastic, great weather. So I'm very happy here
Yeah.
so far.
So and how did you then settle in? Like you got there, okay, arrive at the airport, and where did you go to?
Yeah, so basically, before I actually moved took the plane, I actually made a reservation at a co-living space because I wanted to meet people as soon as I'm there and maybe have,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
yeah, make friends. I'm very passionate about friendships, so I wanted to, right off the bat, meet people and just be able to maybe explore the city with them. So as soon as I arrived at the airport, I went directly to the co-living space, and yeah, that's kind of how I started making friends right away and started exploring the city.
Nice. And can you tell me a little bit more about the co-living space? Like, is it like a hostel or is it like a house where there are like many people who live together?
Yeah, so
Can you
it's
be a
the
little
one
bit
I
more specific?
sure the one I went to is like a three-floored house, and it has a total of, well, in this one it had about 10 rooms, and so you live with different people. It's a very big house, so you live with 10 people in the house, and you obviously have the shared space, but also your own room and your own bathroom.
Okay, so it's not like a hostel because there's like no like front desk or anything. Is there like a main tenant who and they're just like people coming in and out basically or
Exactly. So we have like a group chat, and basically for any maintenance or any kind of issues, we can address it on the group chat. And they also have like a form that you can fill in online if you need anything. And that's sort of how it goes. And obviously, like you mentioned, people will come and go to fix things and to meet people that are living in the house.
and did you have like a maximum time there, something like that?
Yeah, so basically, it's funny you mentioned that because I only booked it for a month because I wanted to really have my own space eventually. So I thought this is just going to be a temporary place. I've never actually lived in a co-living space with that many people until now.
Mhm.
So I was always like, I'm very like, it's very important for me to have my own space. So I only booked it for a month. But towards the end, I actually really started to like it. But we had to provide a notice period that we're leaving, like a month before we leave. So
Ah,
yeah,
okay. So
so
you're
someone
kinda
had
moved in, but you already gave notice at the day you moved in.
exactly, and someone had already booked my room, so I couldn't extend it.
Ah, okay. So yeah, I never like really heard about this co-living spaces. Is this specially for expats?
I think it's very popular among like digital nomads, like so people that are working remotely and traveling around the world.
Okay.
But in Mexico, I was surprised to see that there's quite a lot of expats that actually live in these co-living spaces as well. Not too
Ah,
sure why,
uh-huh.
but I know in other countries, like in Thailand, for example, it's very much digital nomad focused, and no expats usually live there.
Isn't a digital nomad expats
Yeah, I mean,
on the same page?
yeah, you could say that, but I mean, obviously, digital nomads are always traveling. Like they only stay for a couple of months in one place. But like
Ah,
I
that's
meant,
what you meant.
yeah, I mean, expats as in
You
like people that are staying for work or like staying for at least a year or
right,
two.
right, right.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. And, is there like one specific site for it, or is it like you can find it on Craigslist or on, I don't know, where you nowadays look for
Mm.
accommodation?
So it depends on the company, I guess, but the one that I booked specifically, they're actually they have their own website, but they're also very active on social media. So it's pretty much a company that has multiple houses, and you can sort of choose which house you want to go to.
Ah. See, I
Yeah.
never heard of that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's the first time I also heard about it, and actually, it's funny because the world is very small. Because one of my friends who I met when I was 19, she used to be a colleague actually in Portugal, when I was 19. She actually worked in that company, and she was the one that sort of introduced me when she knew that I was coming to Mexico. So that's how I found out about it.
Right. Yeah, okay, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I mean, that's good to know. I think that's, like, very useful information there.
Absolutely.
Alright, and okay, so you were the first month there, and you, had to start working right away?
Yeah, so the first month I had to go through a lot of the administrative process. So
Mhm.
obviously officially signing the contract, getting all my badges and access cards, things like that. So the first month was pretty much things like that, as well as of course opening bank accounts, finalizing my resident card and things like that. So after the first month and after all of that was done, then I started officially with the onboarding and actually working on projects.
Okay. Alright, and then you also had to find a new house at the same time, a new apartment.
Exactly. So in this particular case where I'm right now, I'm also living in a shared apartment, but it's with much less people.
Mhm.
And I I found that there's a lot of Facebook groups for accommodation here in Mexico City. So that's how I
Okay.
found my current place.
Alright, so you totally rely on Facebook. Yay.
In this case, I did.
Okay. Um, do you live with, like, a lot of internationals then in your
So
apartment now?
so my current place, actually, I live with only Mexicans.
Ah,
But
uh-huh.
in my other house, I used to live with people from all over the world,
Yeah, yeah.
which was great.
Yeah, but this is also great now because now you can, like, they probably can take you around and, like, show you how things are done.
Yes, exactly. They've helped me a lot with those kind of things, and I obviously speak to them in Spanish every day, so I'm really practicing and I guess improving my Spanish as well.
Oh, yeah, so how was your Spanish before you got there? And, like, how is it now? And, yeah, what's a language process?
I would probably say that my Spanish was, yeah, I would say more of an intermediate level before, but I had never
Okay,
u- I'd never used Spanish with people that are from Spain or people that are from Latin America before because we just always spoke in English because we were in an international
right.
environment. But
Mhm.
here it's a little different because well, they really appreciate it when you speak in Spanish, and a lot of people still don't speak English. So it's very useful to speak Spanish, and I obviously wanted to take the opportunity to actually improve my Spanish while I'm here. So that's what I've been
Uh-huh.
working on.
And how do you learn? Do you also speak Spanish at work?
So I speak Spanish at work sometimes with colleagues. The general language is English, but we also have a
Ah,
very international team and some Mexicans as well.
okay.
And most of my colleagues speak Spanish, even though they're from around the world.
Okay. Okay. So it's mixed, would you say?
Yes, correct. It's mixed.
And how do you learn in Spanish? Do
Well,
you take classes?
for me personally, I used to take classes when I was in middle school, high school, but I also, I mentioned in the previous episode that I speak Portuguese, luckily, thanks to living in
Okay.
Brazil. So it's very similar.
Right. So, okay, that helps. Yes.
Yes,
So you
exactly.
already like understand it a little bit, and
Yeah,
grammar is also very similar.
it's similar, but there's also many differences. I would probably say that my grammar has improved quite a lot from just interacting with Mexicans and other Spanish-speaking people. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been amazing so far to just be able to speak well and improve my Spanish.
Would that though have hold you back if you would not have had like a little bit of the language understanding? Do you think like
Yes,
if you would not have had it, then maybe you would have hesitated more to move to Latin America?
it's a great question. I don't think I would have hesitated, but I think that I would have definitely had more of a difficult time to go around and get things done. So luckily, I'm able to speak some Spanish,
Yeah,
but I think I wouldn't have not hesitated, no, because as I mentioned before, I'm just very used to moving around. So
right.
yeah, I don't really have that fear of. I know a lot of people do have that fear of moving to a new country, but I don't have that luckily. So I'm up for a challenge always.
You're just for you, it's just like moving to another city.
Exactly. Yes, makes sense.
Um, and then, like you said, you made a lot of friends through your previous housing. Do you still have those friends?
Yes, actually, I do. I actually hang out with them every week, and I go to visit the house maybe once every 2 weeks, and we always catch up. And there's also a lot of events in that house, like a lot of events from people coming over in other houses in the same company. So like the different houses have like a big event, and usually it's held in the house that I used to live in before. So we all sort of gather around together, and that's sort of how I expanded my friendship and network here.
Ah, right. So the people kind of stayed there longer too.
Yes, exactly. So generally, on average, I think people stay for about 2 or 3 months minimum.
Okay. And what about like your coworkers? Is it like a more like a community based
I would,
experience or culture?
yeah, I'd probably say for my coworkers, we're also like from all around the world. Like I think there's about 30 different nationalities in the company and in the office. So yeah, I've definitely made more friends as well through my coworkers. And yeah, like you mentioned, I think it's more of it's a very strong community as well, and everyone likes to help each other. And I think that like our relationship goes beyond work. Everyone is very professional at work, but at the same time, they
Uh-huh.
know how to also be a human being and be more personal, let's say.
Right. And also then I guess they all went through the whole process themselves. So
Yeah,
they know how to help.
yes,
Are they
exactly.
also more likely to be there by themselves? So they're like everybody wants to make friends?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point because some of them have been there longer, so they obviously understand the challenges that come with moving to Mexico. So they've been very helpful and very accommodating, and of course, trying to make me feel comfortable and introducing me to different people. So that's been great.
All right. All right. So that's nice. So like all social fears for being lonely, you can make a check on it because like you already made plenty of nice connections.
Yes, that's checked. I'm always open and looking forward to meeting new people. I think I'm very
Mhm.
extroverted in general, so yeah, but I've definitely checked that box for sure.
Nice. Nice. And so what would you say like are some cultural changes that were like more of a stark contrast to what you were used to previously?
Uh, I wouldn't say significantly because there's also a lot of people from different Latin American countries in Thailand. So I got to meet a lot of people from Argentina, from Chile, from Peru.
Uh-huh.
So I got to sort of understand how they are and what are some of the cultural characteristics that they have. So I was already, let's say, accustomed to that. So once I came here, it wasn't so much of a culture shock.
Okay.
And and yeah, so I think my experiences of just yeah meeting people from different places has helped with that.
Okay. But is there anything that sticks out that's like different to you?
I think that's a great question because I don't think I've found anything very significant so far. Um, but I mean, I've only been here for 3 months, so I think with time maybe those
Right.
things will come out. But so far, no.
Right. Okay. And you also mentioned earlier you really like the food. So so tell me about it.
Well, they have, I think, like Thailand, there's a lot of street food here in the city and a lot of very, very nice restaurants for very affordable prices. So
Mhm.
like Thailand, you can actually have a full scale of different types of cuisine. So you have a lot of different types of cuisines from different places, but also like Mexican food in general is so broad because like you have regional different specialities because Mexico is a big
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
So depending on that as well, you have so many options to try different types of food from different regions. And yeah, so far I've been eating mostly Mexican food and from different places, and I really love it. It's absolutely delicious, and I just can't get enough of it.
So it sounds like you would just have just a lot of options because I mean because you are in Mexico City, it's one of the biggest cities in the world.
Exactly, yes. It's a massive city, so
Yes.
there's plenty of options.
Do you because you were in Koh Phangan before, it's like I mean it's like a super touristy area, but it's more remote. Did you have like how was it then for you to like the from like being like at a more quiet small place back into like super metropolitan big city?
It's a great question. I used to, when I was in Kopangan, I used to think that, okay, I'm done with big cities because I was in Bangkok for 5 years and I don't want to deal with the chaos and the pollution and things like
Right.
that. But when I actually came here, I was very surprised because the city is very walkable. Many areas of the city are very green. So there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of parks. There are some aspects that remind me of European cities as well.
Mhm.
So it, I really miss the aspect of, I think, being able to walk around the city and cycle everywhere as well on a bike. So the transition hasn't been as bad, I would say. I actually feel like it's very comfortable. It's relatively quiet, actually, depending on where you are in the city as well.
Isn't it also in Mexico City? I think I just read it recently that they have like areas where there are only bikes allowed, there are no cars.
Yeah, so they have certain areas like that as well. But if I'm not mistaken, every Sunday there's a big road where there's a lot of office buildings and stuff. They usually close that for cars every weekend, and they only allow people to run or cycle on those roads.
Yeah, that's nice. It's also like way quieter. I mean,
Exactly.
great for less pollution, but also like way more peaceful.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing is, I've heard Mexico City can get quite polluted, but I feel it much less than Bangkok, for example.
Ah, yeah, okay. So you got like already a very bad example, and it's just a little bit better. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you still like explore it or like see it as mm, I don't know how to say it, but do you still do like all these touristy things at the moment because you're still so new?
Yeah, so I do. I recently went to like there's a place called Teotihuacan, which is like it used to be like a very old city before Christ, Mesoamerican
Mhm.
city, and they have the pyramids there. It's only like
Yeah,
an hour and a
yeah.
half away from the city. I'm not sure if you've been to Teotihuacan.
I have not been. I've been to Mexico City, but not to that place.
Okay, yeah, so that's one of the places that I went just last week, and yeah, other than that, like the central historical area of the city as well. Like I've been doing a lot of touristy things and just getting that out of the way first before actually exploring more outside the city and maybe other regions and other places as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know like how much time you have if you have like a regular 9 to 5 job. Don't know if you like
Yes.
still have, I don't know, room for all exploring and or if it's like you come home, go get dinner and then crash.
I guess I guess usually my weekdays are quite I wouldn't say boring, but they're quite mundane because I don't need to go to the office every single day. Luckily, I can work 3 days from home and 2 days are in the office.
Mhm.
So
Could you
there's a little
also
bit of
work from a cafe or something?
I could, yes, I could do that. So
Okay.
that's a little helpful to get out of the house as well and
Uh-huh.
not be stuck in the office all the time. So, but we have set hours that we need to work. So, like 9 to 5, for example. So we can't really
Mhm.
just start going exploring
Yeah,
during
yeah,
work
yeah.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So and then on weekends you still like check out nice sites.
Exactly. So I would use the weekends to, yeah, just check out different places and also obviously meet different people as well, like be more social. So trying
Mhm.
to do both at the same time.
Is there something that you miss from your previous home? I mean, it was Thailand. You said like at that time, Thailand was the place where you lived the longest. So do
Yes,
you
that's
miss
correct.
things from there?
Great question. I so far not really because I think I was just there for such a long time and that hasn't hit me yet, I guess, the feeling of
Mhm.
really wanting to be there again. But there are things like that would probably make me miss it less because there's plenty of Thai restaurants, there's plenty of like let's say Asian supermarkets in the city. So if I want to cook something or have Thai food, I can just get it. But in terms of like culture and everything, people have been quite friendly here as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I miss it significantly, but I think one of the biggest reasons why I don't miss it so much is because this is going to sound funny, but some aspects of Thai culture and Mexican culture, or at least the vibe or the environment, has a lot of similarities. So it
Ah,
makes me
uh-huh.
feel it's very familiar for me, and it makes me feel right at home. So I think that's why I don't really miss it so much.
Okay, and you also have a lot of sunshine too. I guess it also helps.
Absolutely, yes. If I was, for example, in the UK or something, then that would be more challenging. But yeah,
Yeah, right.
being being in Mexico City, it's great.
And but the climate is still a little bit different, right? You still have it's a little bit colder, I imagine, than Thailand.
Yes. So in the winter it gets a little chilly, but I mean, obviously, being coming from Seoul, it's not too bad because I think
Right.
the maximum it goes down to here is probably maybe in Celsius. I think it's around 4, 5, maybe 6 degrees.
Okay, so that's quite cold. That's like 40 in Fahrenheit, I think.
Yeah,
Ish. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but that's a big difference to Thailand before. And it's not as humid, I imagine.
Yes, that's something that I really like about the city, and something that I don't miss about Thailand is the humidity.
I
Um,
bet I hate it too.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned about the climate because a lot of people that I've met, especially from the US, they escape the US to be here because like the US is just too cold. So for them, this is like a summer holiday for them.
Yeah, I mean, the people, they definitely don't come from Texas or from the South.
Yeah.
'Cause, uh 'cause here it's hot enough. But, I remember, like, I was in Mexico City also, around this time, a long time ago. I think, like, 10 years ago. But, no, it was, like, a nice, sunny, but not too cold. Like, I think you could still, like, could run around with a T-shirt if you wanted to, like, during the day. But it was
Yes,
like yeah, it was, like, nice and crisp.
yes, that's exactly what I do actually. I'm usually in a t-shirt, and people sometimes look at me like I'm crazy, but it just gets too hot if I'm wearing like a sweater or something. So I
Yeah,
always just put it in my bag.
yeah. Do you remember, like, why you did not want to stay longer in Thailand?
That's an excellent question. There's no particular reason that I can pinpoint to, but yeah, I would just probably say that, after a while, I just had this feeling inside where, I've already seen this. I'm hanging out with the same people. Like I'm very familiar with different places in the country, like the culture, and I miss that. Maybe I would. This is a better way to put it. I had like an itch again to like put myself in the unknown and get to know a different culture, get to know a different place. And I've always been fascinated by Latin America, as I mentioned, and so it was always my dream to want to move to Latin America. And obviously, once I saw the opportunity, then I was like, great. But yeah, I would say probably it was just yeah that itch to have something new.
Yeah, okay. It was not that you were totally fed up with it.
No, actually, I still really loved Thailand, and I was like, I'm very happy here. I could probably even settle here and like permanently live here. Like that's how happy I was. But so it was a little bit of a there was a little bit of a bittersweet feeling, I would say, um, as I was getting closer to leave because I was like, okay, I'm very comfortable here, but and I don't really want to leave. But at the same time, I do want to explore different places. And I had shifted my mindset to say, okay, I can always come back to Thailand if I want to.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Um, but
Mm-hmm.
if I don't go to Mexico, or if I don't go to Latin America, I will never know how it is. So that was my mindset
True.
going.
True. And you also said like you said like right in the beginning that you could see yourself like living there or like settling there. Um because you moved around so many times. Do you think that is even possible for you?
I think so. That's a very, very good question, and it's something that
I
people
mean,
ask me quite a lot.
I don't want to be like rude, but
No,
I
no,
was
no,
just
no.
wondering.
I actually love that you asked that question because it's a question that I get quite often from people,
Oh, you do?
especially when they,
Okay.
yeah, especially when they know about my background. And the truth is, I used to think that no, I probably couldn't settle in one place. Like I would probably just always feel an itch at some point. But
Uh-huh.
you know, once I entered my 30s and obviously my priorities in life and my goals and values shifted. So now it's more of I wouldn't mind settling in one place and having like a permanent home in a country, but I would still want to obviously travel, but maybe not like
Yeah.
permanently live in like in different countries. So
Right.
I
Right.
think I've had my enjoyment doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That wait, just to refresh my memory, your parents, did they also move around a lot, right?
Yes. So I think for the first 8 countries that I've lived, it was together with family, like my parents and my sister. But after I went to university, that was by myself, like since then.
And your parents, did they move back to South Korea?
So they moved back to South Korea in 2016. Before then, they were living in the US, actually. They were living in Atlanta, Georgia. And yeah, in 2016, they moved back and they've been back home ever since.
Okay, okay. So I just wanted to see like like if you have like a great example from your parents that are still like moving around like when they're like a little bit older and or a little bit later in life, or
Mm.
if like I don't know,
It's
whatever
it's
they
it's funny you mentioned that. Sorry to cut you off. It's funny you mentioned that because my parents actually they're already getting they're getting the itch right now, as I mentioned. They have the
Oh,
itch to
really?
leave Korea again. And they mentioned that they want to do like a travel, like rent like a caravan or like a big bus or something. And they want to
Uh-huh.
drive from like from start from China, for example, and drive all the way to like Portugal, like have a road trip for like
Oh,
a year.
wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they have that itch as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so you, inherited that itch.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's what happens when you just live in different places.
But I guess, like, I mean, if you talk to them and this is, like, a big part of your conversation, that just makes sense, right? I mean, it's like I mean, I also always have an itch, but I don't know, it's like at the moment for me, it's like, a little bit harder to unroot yourself because I mean, I don't know, we're like 4 people, so
It makes it more
everybody has
complicated. Yeah.
yeah, everybody has like their roots.
And do you feel like, I mean, you mentioned you had the itch. How is everything in Texas? Do you feel like you want to um, maybe scratch that itch and move altogether as a family somewhere else, or are you quite settled and happy there?
Yeah, like the political situation is so bad right now.
Yeah.
So, we're like, I mean, it's for sure not like forever, and we're also like visa holders. So I don't think we will. I think like when the visa's running out, we will go somewhere else.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So, but also it's a hard debate right now because like we just want to see like what the elections are like in Germany because like in Europe the politics are just bad too. So we're
Yeah.
just like just wait it out for a little while and then we'll hopefully make a decision.
Well, Mexico City is always open for you and your family if you ever come.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Like you upselling really well. I mean, I really enjoyed Mexico City. I remember though also felt mostly like safe there. I mean, but it's a long time ago, but there was this one time where we made like a wrong turn. Like we just walked like that one street for a little bit too long kind of, and then we ended up in like some area where like people lived under cardboard boxes kind of, you know,
Mm,
so I felt like there are like definitely like safe areas or like middle class neighborhoods, but then there were also like there was also a lot of poverty,
mm. Yeah,
but like
that's a good point.
but they were like kind of cut off, you know, they did not like mix in into the other neighborhoods.
That's a great point you mentioned that because that's what I found also in Mexico City is there's many different. Okay, you have the safe neighborhoods here, but even within some of those safe neighborhoods, there are some areas like along the edge, for example, or along the corner of that area, where it can be a little. People define it as sketchy. It can be a little sketchy,
Mhm.
and so like if you're in a safe area and then you just take one wrong turn like you did, you could be end up in a dangerous neighborhood which is right next door. So that's
Yeah.
why you always have to be very careful in terms of where you are, look where you are on the map and know your location.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what would you recommend to somebody who is thinking of packing their bags and going to Mexico City?
It's a great question. I would probably say the first thing that they should do is probably, well, if you mean like they permanently want to move, I would probably say they should first come here on holidays, spend a couple of weeks or maybe like a couple of months here just to see how it is, learn more about the city and the country, and then decide whether they like it or not. Because I think if, especially for people that are from specific cultures and specific geographical locations, they have this image of Mexico that it's very dangerous. It's very a lot of negative feelings towards it. By the way, which my parents also had when they
Oh
came
yeah.
to Mexico. Yeah.
But
So
isn't it sorry to interrupt, but isn't it also that a lot of people who just visit Mexico, they only go to the resorts
that's
or
a
like
good
only
point.
to the super touristy places, but they never like explore like where the whatever the people live.
That's an excellent point because Mexico has a lot of, especially on the coast, they have a lot of all-inclusive resorts and like Cancun and places like this. It's like a lot of, I don't want to like segregate a specific nationality, but it tends to be a lot of people from Canada and the US that just come to Mexico and they stay in these all-inclusive resorts and they don't leave the resorts because you can eat there, you have the pool there, you have the beach there, so they don't really get to know the true Mexico. Like they don't get to explore the culture, they don't get to try the street food, they don't get to interact with a Mexican person properly. So I would probably say to avoid those if someone is trying to actually understand more about Mexico. And I think Mexico City is a great start because, yeah, there is a couple of locations that are very much foreigner based, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of foreigners here that are in one neighborhood. They don't leave the neighborhood because it's their comfort zone and they have everything they need. But Mexico City has so much to offer if you're willing to go out of such a comfort zone. So I'd probably say to go out of your comfort zone and just try to enjoy everything it has to offer because you'll be surprised at how much there is and how safe it is.
And did you encounter any problems since you're there?
You mean in terms of crime?
No, no. I mean, in terms of moving to there, or what was your biggest problem that you faced? As yeah.
My biggest problem, well, I wouldn't really define this as a problem, but there was a little bit of an issue when I entered Mexico. So I had my visa on my passport, and they had to give me a specific stamp because obviously I had the visa. But the immigration officer stamped my passport as a tourist. So once I had to actually get my resident card, they realized that the stamp was wrong. So I had to go to the
Oh.
airport with some lawyers to actually change the stamp, and that was a bit of a process. But that's the only thing that I've had so far.
And how did you get those lawyers? I don't know. Would have no
Oh.
idea.
So in this specific case, our company provided them. So our company basically
Ah,
they outsource some lawyer, like a lawyer, a law firm,
right,
to take care of all the visas for the employees.
right. So it's an immigration attorneys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right, got it. I was like, oh, you have to find it yourself. It's like I would not. And then I'm like, oh my God, this costs like a fortune.
Luckily, my company took care of it.
Nice. Nice. All right. I think I don't have any more questions. I think. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you
thanks
for
for
having me
like
back.
being, yes, no, thanks for being here again for the second time. And I
Yeah,
hope like
absolutely.
this stays your, for now at least, your home.
I think it will stay like that because my plan is to stay for at least 2 years minimum. So
Ah,
um, I,
okay.
I'm sure I'm going to stay longer, but to be honest, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
You got a 2-year contract with a company?
So this one, it's indefinite. There's no end period, so I can leave whenever I
Ah,
want. Yeah,
oh, this is awesome.
yeah. So it's great.
And then you can also just like extend your visa.
Yes. So so after right now I have a temporary resident visa. So
Uh-huh.
basically, I think after 4 years I can get the permanent resident visa where I can just permanently live in Mexico.
Oh my God, this is
So
so easy. I mean, it
yeah. So
always
if
sounds so easy. I don't know. US is so complicated, but
yeah.
this sounds this sounds way easier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think after the permanent residency card, I think after a few years you're even eligible to apply for Mexican citizenship. So I don't know if I'll be here for 4 years and I'll reach that point where I have to get permanent residency, but the option is there.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's great. Nice. All right. So thanks for adding that.
Absolutely.
All right. Like, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me again.
That was Kevin. It was so nice to hear from him again. Or, like, in my case, it was so nice to talk to him again. And that was it from this week. I hope you liked this episode. Let me know. As I said before, leave the podcast a 5-star rating wherever you listen to this podcast. And also, if you want to be a guest on this show, then reach out to me at worldscollide123pod@gmail.com. And yeah, and just send me a quick text, and I'm so happy to hear from you, and I will get back to you. And I think that was it, and I hope you tune in again next week. Until then, bye.